back with a special David Pollock show at a little earlier time, but it's for very good reasons. Tonight we are joined by a very special guest. Our good friend Mercedes Schlapp joins us to talk about CPAC. It's coming up this week, and we are very excited to be there yet again. And all of that is coming up right after this. New intro there, Puppet. We're working on it.
Yeah, yes, we are working on it. Moving up in the world, or moving over in the world, or something. Turning over.
We really are. Welcome, everybody, to the show. I know we're doing it at a little bit different time tonight. Thanks for getting here early, Puppet. But we had a really special guest that I didn't want to keep waiting, because one of my favorite events, and I'm going to tell you why I love this event so much, and if everybody watched the intro, they know what I'm talking about. But let me tell you why I love this event so much. So when I dreamed of doing this for a living, it was probably like 4 or 5. Well, I've always dreamed about doing this for a living, but 4 or 5 years ago, I got the courage to do it. I hit 40 years old. I know. Can you believe I'm 44 years old? Everybody's like, what? You're not 40. You look so young. So when I set out to do this, I said, you know what? There's a way. There's a secret to this, right? You got to go and be around the people who you see doing this and being successful at it. And I started working really hard, find opportunities to be radio shows. I found a radio show that allowed me to do some running for him and allowed me to interview people. And one of the first interviews we had was with Mercedes Schlapp at CPAC. And I know it sounds dorky to say this, and she's sitting backstage and she's going to laugh at me when I say it, but in a way I was kind of starstrucky. Because, you know, I watched her on Fox News. I've seen her on Newsmax. I've seen her everywhere. She was a Schlapp. The Schlapps. Everyone knows the Schlapps in CPAC. And I'm sitting there at CPAC talking to Mercedes Schlapp. And I thought it was just the coolest thing in the whole world. And I even told her, I'm like, this is the cool. I was like grinning from ear to ear. I'm like, I can't believe this is my life now. And I got to do it. And then I started getting a lot more opportunities. I got to meet you, Puppet. And I still am figuring out if this is a good thing or not. But I got to meet you. And that would we were at CPAC last year. We're going back to CPAC this year. But now when I go to CPAC, I'm still like, anytime I see Mercedes, I'm like, oh my God, it's Mercedes Schlapp. But the cool thing is I've gotten to see her at other events, at Brandon Strock's Walk-A-Con. And then I got to meet all these people in the conservative world, all these people I look up to. And I'm like, oh, these are the people doing it. These are the people I aspired to be like. And I'm fortunate now, after a lot of really hard work, you saw our intro, Puppet. We got to hang out with some really cool people.
Yeah, and all because CPAC is the nexus.
CPAC kicked it off, and that's why I love CPAC so much. It was CPAC in Florida, in the warm sunshine. I'm going to go freeze my butt off in D.C., and I'm going to have to ask Mercedes why, but I'm going to go freeze my butt off in D.C., but in Florida, during COVID, because the rest of the world locked down, and Florida was still the free state that it was, we had the most amazing CPAC, and so many people were there. It was such a cool, and that was I view that as being like the moment that really kicked all of this off, Puppet. So I cannot think of anything else better than going live early for this guest. And I'm going to bring her on right now, Puppet. Are you ready?
I am.
Miss Mercedes Schlapp.
Hello.
Welcome back to the David Pollock Show. You know, another thing that I didn't even get to say, when I started my radio show, you were my first guest. when I was at
Oh
the Salem
my.
Network. So you have been a very key person in my development as a superstar radio now / podcast host that I am.
Slash
I
And
love it.
so thank you for being
That's because
here.
of Puppet. Puppet made you
That-
famous. I don't know
I-
what you're
That's
talking about.
Infamous.
Mercedes, I love you.
Do you have a Mrs. Puppet? Because one of the things that CPAC is so amazing is like there's a bunch of like people who find their significant others at CPAC. It's like it's a known thing. So you might have.
Really?
I'm just letting you know.
Well, I'll have my eyes peeled. That's for sure. I'm looking for Mrs. Puppet. Maybe I should have a sticker on that says I'm looking for Mrs. Puppet.
I'm single. I'm ready. Yeah, I think
Now,
that's great.
That's a great idea because
I know.
we can do like this could raise money, right? Because the women's breakfast is sold out now, guys. Everybody, and we even do the whole introduction. This is Mercedes Schlab. You know, see, everybody knows who you are. You're a celebrity. We just went right into it, didn't we?
We did.
So we're gonna talk about CPAC, but women's breakfast sold out. Reagan
Yes.
dinner sold out. Almost every VIP level ticket sold out. Almost all the tickets are sold out. This event is a superstar event, but the one event that we could probably sell out is the singles mixer on the first night of CPAC.
Oh my.
Why aren't we
idea.
doing this? Raise a ton of money.
We could raise a ton of money. I totally agree. You know, I gotta say, I'm going to take that one up to the chairman, Matt Schlapp, and ask him about that. I think it would be great. But we do know of so many people who have met at CPAC, who have actually gotten engaged, gotten married, had kids, and really, it's just amazing. And I think part of it is that, you know, it brings. I love it. It just brings all of us together. It's a moment in time, like I think right now, especially for this CPAC in particular, where our theme is America back on track. We know that we're celebrating this incredible moment in history of the golden age. And we also know that we got to roll up our sleeves and stay focused because the communists and the globalists and the evil left, they're going to regroup and they're going to be ready to go on attack again. This battle never ends. And so while we are allowed to celebrate and we're allowed to be with these incredible speakers that we have coming from the White House, from cabinet secretaries. I just confirmed Secretary Kristi Noem's going to be joining us,
Wow.
As well as Attorney General Pam Bondi, and several of the other secretaries are going to be coming as well. You know, I got to say, like, I think that it's a moment in time to be able to listen to the status update because they've been working 24/7, okay, this administration on where we are and what we're accomplishing with the Trump agenda. But on top of that, where we need to go next and what we have to accomplish beyond the 100 days as we go into midterm elections and as we go into the next 4 years.
Yeah, absolutely. And for my audience who might, and if my audience doesn't know you, that they shouldn't be watching my show. They should know who you are. But you've worked in several presidential administrations. You've been an advisor to Trump. You've been in media for a long time. You've been on Fox. You have a show on Newsmax now, and you're involved with CPAC. So you're everywhere. You are like, you're the conservative that conservatives want to be because you're doing it. You're sending the message. You're surrounding yourself with the right people, with President Trump, and you've always been positioned really at the forefront of conservative thinking. I mean, with the administrations you've served in CPAC.
As you know, I mean, really, it's humbling, right? It's humbling when you have your platform that, you know, God gives you this opportunity to share the message of truth, the message of light, the message of protecting our families, protecting our country, protecting our faith. And you can't take that lightly. Not even you, Puppet. You can't take it lightly. It's like, it's what you're called to do, right? And so it's funny because we do the show over at Newsmax, and Chris Plant, our host, always says, Mercy, you always have too many jobs. He always tells me, but my labor of love is CPAC. I love CPAC because I've seen what my husband has been able to accomplish in terms of taking what was a very small organization into the most influential conservative organization across the globe. He has taken it to the point that we have CPACs in multiple countries. We've had over 40 countries reach out to us to say, can we please have a CPAC in our country? Can you help us fight the fake news? Can you help us fight woke ideology? Can you help us fight the weaponization of their judicial system? Doesn't that sound familiar? Can you help us find conservative leaders to run? And how do we deal with these issues of election integrity? And so what we've seen is these CPACs in Japan, Australia, Brazil, Mexico, Argentina, Hungary. We've been to Israel. We've done a CPAC in Israel. And the list continues to grow. I mean, we are looking at additional locations, additional countries this upcoming year. And we work 24/7 because our priority is here in America. We need to ensure that our country is strong, that our country is growing, but we also want to make sure that that President Trump has allies across the globe that are willing to fight for what is good and to fight against these authoritarian types of regimes and really move and preserve freedom. It's what we're all wanting, right? It's what we all are looking for. It's what Americans and even beyond Americans are looking for. And, you know, they're very inspired by Trump. Like you look at a President Milei in Argentina, he's inspired by what Trump has done. We'll have actually he's coming to CPAC to speak, but we also have Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni sending us a video message. She'll be Zooming live with us, someone who's been a leader in Italy as well. And Matt just came back from Poland and was with Viktor Orban in Hungary. And, you know, these guys really value this Trump presidency. They know that with Trump in power, you know, the European Union has been put on watch. You know, they no longer can they continue to bully around America. They need to come to a peace in what we see between Russia and Ukraine. And we also want to make sure that we support, you know, unceasingly Israel, which is one of our greatest allies. And so I feel that I've watched CPAC really go from what would be in kind of a DC insider organization to all of a sudden this like the right version of the United Nations, bringing delegations from across the globe. And on top of that, it's our grassroots activists who are at the center of this all. So, you know, it's really humbling and really, truly an honor to be part of what I think is something that's just grown to be a spectacular organization.
You said something that is so important that I really want to emphasize because I don't think people maybe got it, because the impact that CPAC is having across the globe, internationally, in South America and Europe. And I think, you know, we talked, I remember my very first show, my radio show that you were on, was right when Trump was indicted in New York. It was literally the first I go on. Trump was just indicted in New York. Yeah. And we're talking about Alvin Bragg and how can this happen in America? We talked about what this can mean for the rest of the world. And if America went down this route, what would that mean for our allies abroad? And what you just said, you said everybody's looking to CPAC. Everybody's looking to Trump. Everyone's looking to America because you look what happened in Brazil. You look what happened to their elections, and they're putting their politicians in jail. Venezuela, we've seen it happen there. You see the lawfare being used in Europe and the censorship of free speech. CPAC has become, and I don't think people are paying enough attention to this and how important this is and how important this election was. Because what CPAC did was you went around the world and you're like, hey, you see what's happening in the United States with the weaponization of justice. It's happening here too. Mm-hmm. Look how we're beating it in the United States. This is how you beat it there.
That's right. You nailed it, David. It's about finding solutions and sharing best practices and really supporting each other. I'll give you a perfect example. I'll never forget when we did CPAC Brazil, which Eduardo Bolsonaro will be joining us, the son of Jair Bolsonaro, the former president, and now Eduardo's a congressman there, really charismatic guy. He explained perfectly. I'll never forget. We were in Brazil, in Sao Paulo, and they were all talking Portuguese, and I didn't understand a word. And don't get me wrong, I speak fluent Spanish, but I could not understand a lick of Portuguese. And all of a sudden you hear, and then they go, fake news, and everyone just starts applauding. And I was like, wait a second. They've got fake news problems too. So you have the leftist media dictating so much of what's happening in the politics, basically setting the narrative and pushing propaganda to destroy the right. And then the other thing I learned in Brazil, which was interesting, this was way before we were really facing the debate on the woke ideology, is when they were talking about how they were teaching children in the school curriculums about orgasms to fourth graders. And I was like, huh? What? And so all of a sudden you start seeing this weaponization of like these justices taking out their political opponents. You start here in the US, you start seeing, well, fake news we've been dealing with, which the president coined that term. You start seeing the children, whether they're targeting the children from the sexuality standpoint and from the gender ideology standpoint, that coming to the US. And so you start to realize that these globalists and these communists are so organized across, seriously, when they say globalists, across the globe, to
Mhm.
insert their agenda in every single one of these countries to basically break down the family, infiltrate the children and indoctrinate the children, separate the families from the kids, basically, and then obviously then go after any conservative, and they use it through the judicial system. And so now what's happened is that these globalists have been put, they're literally now, they know that they have a competitor, and their competitor is CPAC, because we start making comments that, or we push out certain messages, or we're basically saying, listen, we're watching what you guys are doing, and we're going to push back, and we're going to push back hard, and we're going to fight back. And that's how you inspire these groups to get organized in their own countries, to be able to fight back and to win elections. And that's what's been so inspiring with this all. And I have to say, it really stems back to Donald Trump and his vision of creating the MAGA movement, which was so organic. And then us being able to learn from him so we can do the same and expand it not only here in the US, but across the globe.
Yeah, and it's working. I mean, because that's what you talked about. You talk about the grassroots and the reason why people meet their true loves at CPAC. It's because you get to a place, first of all, and I learned this, that was my first impression of CPAC. I was like, wow, I don't have to whisper conservative anymore.
No.
I can go and say my opinions out loud. And not only that, and it's not just an echo chamber. You can have interesting discussions with people, but it's a safe place to have discussions and think. And that is what was so impressive. But not only that, now the grassroots component that you mentioned, it's doing exactly what grassroots are supposed to do. And that's go and get people on the ground to take these philosophies, take these principles, conservative principles, and really fight back against everything that threatens freedom. Because at the heart of what being a conservative is, at the heart of CPAC, all of this is protecting our liberties, protecting our freedom, upholding the Constitution. And we get to give this for free to the rest of the world who struggles with those freedoms, because our Constitution gives us those liberties, given us guaranteed by God. And you're teaching people how to utilize the things we put into practice, we've been successful in, taking our country back under these very same principles when it looked like there was no hope. And now we're seeing it. Look in Germany. Big old pushbacks in Germany. You see it in Brazil. You see it in Venezuela. You have to sit back and go, wow.
Yeah, it is truly, I got to tell you, it just is, it's amazing to watch, but we also know that there's a lot of work to be done, that has to be accomplished. I mean, Venezuela, for example, we've lost that country. We've lost Nicaragua, but, I'm very proud of the work that the Trump administration is doing to put these dictators on alert and say, you know what, we're going to push China. China should not be the biggest, investor in Latin America. The United States should be. We shouldn't allow China to be investing in strategic ports that would be dangerous to our national security. So when the President Trump talks about the Panama Canal, yeah, the U.S. needs to be front and center there, and we got to be working with the Panamanian government, and they shouldn't be giving money to the Chinese. And so, those are the big issues that we're dealing with at CPAC. And it's why you're going to, there's so many of these topics we're going to tackle. I mean, we're going to go from the Maha world with Robert F. Kennedy Jr., basically how we're going to make our kids and families healthy. We're going to be talking about national security. We have the National Security Advisor, Mike Waltz is going to be joining us. We've got the border czar, Tom Homan, and Secretary Kristi Noem, talking about what they're doing at the border nonstop to protect our communities and deport these criminal illegal aliens, and then of course, I mean, the list goes on and on. JD Vance will be joining us to kick off the event. And then we're looking, I can't say too many of the other announcements, but we'll have some good tech titans showing up as well, which will be fascinating to talk about the issues like Bitcoin and talking about artificial intelligence. What does that mean moving forward? And what I love about CPAC is that it is so important. You get to really learn firsthand from the best policy experts, from the best conservative thought leaders in terms of what the future of these policies are that are impacting Americans every single day. You are in the room where things are happening, and you're in with these people who are basically making major decisions for America and for the world. And I think that is something that you really don't get anywhere else. And then what I find even more inspiring is when you see these grassroots activists who go to CPAC, they network, they go back to, they learn, literally it's like osmosis. They're like picking up all this information. Then they go back to their communities and then they run for school board or state representative or become a precinct captain. And then they are very active in their communities. They are armed and ready with, I call the CPAC sword and shield, to be prepared to make these arguments and to help bring more patriots into this incredible movement. So I love when I see people who come back and they're like, guess what, Mercedes, I ran for school board and I won. And, now I'm talking about these issues that I learned at CPAC, and they use CPAC as a resource to be able, to formulate their arguments, to go out there and win elections. And so it really is something that is just, goes just beyond what we could have ever imagined, which was CPAC really serving as that hub for all of these different leaders, whether from government, business, just everyday parents, to come in and be part of something bigger and greater than themselves and give back to their communities and to their country.
That's exactly why everybody should be booking their tickets right now. Drive if you want, because I know people are sketchy about air travel these days.
I know,
but
my gosh.
It's not far to get to DC. I'll be there. My plush patriotic pal Puppet will be there. And I'm telling you guys, if you haven't been to a CPAC, you really don't know what you're missing. You will leave inspired. You will learn a ton about things you might not even realize weren't on your radar. I am very excited to go. Puppet, Mercedes is a busy woman. She's got a lot to do. Before I let her go, do you have anything for her?
Well, I just want to say thanks for doing all this, and thanks for spreading the word, because you're right. We need a place where we can come and learn what we can do to fight. And because they're all organized and sharing ideas to dismantle countries all over the world.
Yeah.
Need to be on the same page. And when you go to CPAC, what I love about it is you've got all these big names that you just rattled off who are going to be there talking about what's going on inside the Washington, but then you also have all of us on the ground, and all, us on the ground that are doing things like we're doing with shows and media and local school board people and local politicians. But then you also have just fans and people that want to be involved but aren't really involved yet, and they get inspired to get involved, and that's what's great about it.
I want to add, there's this wonderful author, her name is Stella Morbido, and she did this incredible book where she used to be a CIA analyst for the Soviet Union and analyzing Soviet Union propaganda. And one of the things that authoritarian leaders do is that they really push this idea of isolation, of you feeling alone. I mean, you can imagine during COVID, they were successful in doing that.
Mm-hmm.
So what I love about CPAC and what we have to make sure we continue to do is build community. That is the most important thing we can do, because there are those people out there that feel so alone, that feel like, well, I'm the Trump supporter. I've had to stay quiet for a long time, especially in the blue cities or blue states. And what I love about CPAC is that we're a family. We really are. Like our kids work at CPAC. My daughters go with us. My sister's coming. It's like, it is truly a family. And I believe that, because while we may not agree on every single policy issue, although I do think we agree on almost every single policy issue when it comes to what President Trump is doing, it's an opportunity to say, you're not alone. Like, you have people who believe in what you believe in, and our community is critical for there to be a success in this nation. And so I think that's the big message that I want to let people know. It's like, we invite you to come. A lot of people sometimes are like, I wasn't invited to go. I'm like, there's no special invite. You just go and get your tickets. The tickets are really cheap. We've been able to get great sponsors to help us lower the cost of the tickets. And you just go and show up. And I'm telling you, you're going to meet friends for life. There are people who have gone to CPAC after CPAC who literally call each other up and they're like, hey, when are you going? When are you getting there? And they're like, one's in California, one's in Florida. And that's our meeting point every year, because that's how we make sure that we keep creating community. And this MAGA community, this American community, we have to continue to expand it. And that's going to be obviously one of our big goals as well.
Yeah, and that's the truth, guys. She's telling you the truth. Like, the first CPAC, I knew nobody. This CPAC, I'm just like calling all my friends. Hey, you going to be there? Hey, you going to be there?
Yeah, right.
And like, I tell my friends and family, and they're like, oh, well, who are you going to be there with? I'm like, oh, all my friends will be there. What do you mean your friends?
Yeah.
All of my people from the conservative world, they're going to be there. And I get to see them. And these are the events that are worth going. Guys, go get your tickets now. They're still on sale while they last. They're really not expensive for what you get in a multiple day forum of just really all the innovative conservative information that you can need succeed and take back your community so we can start taking back America. Trump showed you the way. They tried to take him out twice. They tried to impeach him twice. They tried to indict him 4 times, civil lawsuits, bankrupt him.
Yeah.
Trump is saving America. We can too. We have to all do our parts. And thank you, Mercedes and CPAC, for giving us the tools to do it. And we have better puppets. So
that I agree with. I haven't seen the Brazilian puppets, but yeah, I agree. We have better
but we'll see.
Brazilian puppets. There's like a Brazilian of them over there.
Puppet. I don't know.
We're going to have to find a lady puppet for puppet. We're going to.
I'm in. I think that's great. Love is in the air. Go to CPAC.
That's it.
CPAC.org.
Mercedes, thank you so much for being here again. Thank you for always being here for our show, and thank you for everything you're doing for this country. We'll see you soon.
We'll see you at CPAC.
All right, take care. Bye-bye.
You're there.
Puppet.
Yeah, Dave.
I love Mercedes. She's fantastic.
She's great.
CPAC is so awesome.
I'm smiling ear to ear. Can't you see?
Yeah.
Because of her.
Yeah. No, she's fantastic. Here's what we're going to do. A good friend of ours is backstage. I see her. And she's waving now and she's winking. And we just finished her show before we did our show. And I said, come on, Taylor, you have to come on. She's like, okay, fine, but only if I get to talk to the puppet. She has a thing for you. She says she has a puppet thing. And so we'll talk about that. But what I wanted, but here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to bring Taylor in, and we're going to talk more about how we're going to save America and some other fun things. So don't go anywhere. David Pollack Show with my patriotic pal, Puppet Carlson. We'll be right back.
I'm Scotty Cahill, and I'm the founding partner at FinSec Life. FinSec Life is an independent agency that works with a multitude of carriers that brings the best pricing to each client we serve. With our 40 plus years of experience in the industry, allows us to deliver unique results to each individual client. We do not get paid until your policy is placed, until you have your insurance. So we will do the work. We will ensure that everything is taken care of, whether you get the best pricing, whether you get treated fairly by the underwriting team. If you have an existing policy and you want to know whether the policy is performing as it should, or if you have additional needs for insurance, please contact us at 321-800-3901, and we'll be happy to quote you on a new insurance. The phone number again is 321-800-3901, and the website is finseclife.com, financialsecurityforlife.com.
In today's fast-paced world, effective communication is the backbone of successful businesses. Are outdated systems and high costs slowing you down? Switch to Public Telephone Company for cutting-edge voice-over IP solutions. Enjoy seamless connectivity, unparalleled reliability, and significant cost savings. Tailor-made voice-over IP solutions designed for your business needs. Join countless businesses in transforming your communication with Public Telephone Company. Public Telephone Company. Revolutionize the way you connect.
I am so sick of this woke crap.
Let's watch TV for normal people.
A super influencer is someone that takes the cause that they fight for, whether it's social media, networking, partnerships, and just dominates that movement with it. Let's get into today's episode.
We gotta build the chicken coop today.
We have 4 beautiful children that we adopted.
Anytime you're out there with your kids, it's teaching them to be a productive member of society. Let's herd them like cattle, boys and girls. Come on. We take race out of it. We parent based off principles.
We're going to take everyone's phone so they can sit and actually talk to each other.
This is a kitchen fight for sure.
My name's Tito Ortiz.
Get some!
Everybody knows me from the fighting world.
Real.
But I'm also an avid fisherman.
Tito Ortiz got his sea monster.
Hello!
Hey guys, it's Conservative Ant.
I'm Kendall in Kentucky.
I'm Blake Reynolds.
I'm the Patriot Barbie.
I'm Amber Nicole Ortiz.
Check out the first and only non-woke entertainment.
Only on We the Studios.
You have daughters cheerleading, then you have parents chopping off their breasts.
There's so much to do to save America.
Puppet. I'm still here. You still here?
Dave. Hey, so man, we are about to head out and go to Washington, eh?
We are, Take off, you hoser. We're going to go to Washington and have ourselves some...
Fill up a bag and give it to me.
And what do they eat? They eat poutine? Not Putin. That's what Zelensky eats. You know.
He's eating some Putin meat.
Well, I don't want to keep her waiting backstage,
no.
Puppet. Can I bring Taylor in?
Yeah, of course. Me up. Hey.
Look who it is, Taylor. It's Puppet.
We keep meeting like this. I mean...
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, I'm feeling a little type of way about, you know, Mercedes, the Cupid lovemaker with you with some puppet lady at CPAC, but
I know it's
hold on. I'm going to go backstage and just leave.
Oh, perfect.
Now,
all according to my plan. And I didn't even need Doge to help me. Talk about efficiency. I mean,
no, this is much more efficient.
I agree. So should we take this private now, or how are we going to do this? I mean, again, even though you're looking for a lady puppet at CPAC, even though I've yet to get a Valentine's gift from you.
Well, you know, I was going to say that I was already spoken for when she asked me the question, but I didn't know if I could be so forward to announce it before we actually even talked about it.
I see.
Yeah. So
I'm wondering how long I should let this go on for.
David, what is it? I'm not a player. I just crush a lot.
Oh,
that is the puppet.
Puppet's actually no. Puppet's slogan. Right. Puppet's slogan is, "I'm not a player. I just fluff a lot." A lot of fluffing.
Courtesy of Mike Lindell, as we established.
Right. You know, I am both masculine and soft.
We need to make that shirt, Puppet. I'm not a player. I just fluff a lot. Can we make this shirt?
Sure.
Yeah. Puppet
I think you mean shirt. You know, my pun didn't work. Okay.
I'm going to get some shirts with that, David. That's
I'm just going to have to text her later and be like, what do you mean? She taught me what a trad wife was.
Yeah.
I know. For you guys watching, can you believe that I had to, you know, educate David, as the left loves to educate us, about what a trad wife is?
Yeah.
They know, because they watch the show and they know that David is clueless when it comes to pop culture terminology. They already know this.
It's true. Listen, I try
multiple times.
My job is to pay attention to politics so I can educate and inform and entertain people. Your job, Puppet, is to know what a trad wife is. So you can come in here and tell me these things.
That's right. If Allie were here tonight, she would.
And then I'm like, yeah. And then I'm like, Puppet, this is a serious show. You're like,
the evil puppet laugh.
No stuffing. Shut up, Dave.
So we were having a Puppet before, and by the way, that interview with Mercedes. I'm like Sean Connery. I'm Mercedes Schlop. That interview was awesome. I always enjoy talking to her. CPAC is so much fun, and I'm really excited to be going there. We'll talk about that here in a minute. But we were just on the show with Taylor. Talk to me, Taylor.
Yes.
That's the new theme song. Just talk to me, Taylor.
Perfect. I'm hoping you're not gonna copyright it, because
for that
all over my whole series. Oh, thank you. Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we had such a good time on the show, and we're having this great conversation. And she was like, 30 more seconds. Okay, 2 more minutes. All right, 30 more seconds. And Puppet and I are both not used to hearing that from a woman.
No.
And so we're like, man, we need to have her come on our show and continue the conversation. And what we were talking about, and listen, guys, you have to stay tuned for it, because when it's released, I don't know what your release.
Hump Day, obviously.
Hump Day. So Hump Day, on a Hump Day for Puppet.
That's right.
You know,
I'm soft and hard, by the way.
Oh, it's not even Hump Day yet, Puppet.
That's right.
So Hump Day, it's going to come on, and you'll see the conversation we had, and so you got to watch that, guys. So
fun.
Yeah, we'll do the whole posting to the link on the show and the comments so people can find it. And we're going to do all that stuff. So you can see the great conversation we had there because we talked about the nexus sort of between entertainment and politics. I thought it was a fantastic discussion. I can't wait for the show to come out.
Thank you. Likewise, you both were phenomenal guests. And I did pull the, 30 more seconds. Okay, one, but it's a twofold. I try to just get it all in. And like I said on the show, I had a 30-minute strict, kind of timeline structure in my head, and I gave us an extra 7 minutes and that I did not plan for, but it was worth it. It was actually 7 and then some, but hey, I think it was worth every second. It was very thoughtful. It was funny. We went there.
Yeah, I smoked a cigarette afterwards.
What did he say?
I smoked a cigarette afterwards.
How are we going to get that out of the material? It's a pain to get cigarette smoke out of pillows and things.
I was just thinking that.
Yeah.
Hopefully the ladies at CPAC dig it.
Smells sweet and smoky at the same time.
Like a good bourbon.
That's right.
Yeah.
So we talked on the show about the nexus between entertainment, and then we were talking about Doge. We're talking about the weirdos protesting outside. We talked about a bunch of other things, and we're like,
Kanye, Elon,
Kanye,
Proud Wife, conservatives. Is it a myth? Is it not, all? Yes.
Yeah. It was a great conversation, and so where I wanted to pick up that conversation tonight. Oh, and I want to talk about that plane crash because I knew nothing about it. So you're gonna have to educate me on this real quick. But where I want to pick it up because we had Mercedes on and we're talking about CPAC, and we were talking about sort of what's so great with CPAC is that you can get around like-minded people, have these great discussions and meet people and all of that. And the reason why I wanted to continue this conversation because you talked about what it's like meeting your celebrities and going to these places, and so now we got the CPAC event coming up. If you could go to CPAC, Taylor, who would you like to meet? What political person? You said you already met Don Jr. And so you basically met the pinnacle of cool people, other than Donald Trump himself. Who would you like to meet at CPAC besides me and Puppet? Besides me and Puppet.
Right, that's a given. That is does Trump count? Will he be there?
Maybe
because obviously, like Theo Vaughn, move over. Joe Rogan, move over. Like, let's do this. I mean, that would just be so much fun. But have you interviewed him?
Who?
You, David. Have you interviewed Trump?
Do you know I have been in rooms with the man? I have been feet away from the man. I have never shaken his hand. So the honor of interviewing him has not been bestowed upon me yet. It's still on my to-do list. Maybe I'll have that opportunity someday. I'm going to keep working real hard, but haven't had a chance. I have not. No.
So, here's for both of us. We could even, I'm not greedy. We could tag team it. We did a great job, the three of us today. David's like, speak for yourself. Okay, you're on your own, lady. No,
I'm thinking about this. I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure what Trump is into, but I mean, I'm sure he's. I don't know.
I meant intellectually, David. In an interview. Okay, so I would say again, contingent on if they will be there. I would say Tulsi. I've been dying to have Tulsi on my show.
I've met her several times.
Yeah.
Have I interviewed her?
No.
I need to if I haven't. I was present for her interview before, but I've gotten to meet her several times, and she was at the first CPAC I was at in Florida. She was the keynote speaker at the Reagan dinner, and she gave an amazing speech, brought the house down on conservative. And here's a Democrat at the time giving this amazing speech on conservatism. And by the way, she has a firm, when she shakes your hand.
I love a good handshake.
It's very like somebody who would lead the intelligence agencies for America.
I'm that person, like celebrity or not, no matter who I'm meeting. I always let them know. I'm like, oh, good. And sometimes it makes them feel weird because it's the things people don't normally say out loud. But I'm like, oh, I love that good firm handshake. And they, man or a woman, and they don't really know what to do. But it's like badge of honor. I could totally see that. I mean, I just think she's such a badass. She has never wavered. She's so about what she's about. She's been ragged on. She's been, totally isolated by her own former party. And she's like, you can all kick rocks, basically. Like, I'm about what I'm about.
Well, she's great, and what she says is true. And let me tell you, this is what I love so much about the Tulsi Gabbard, RFK Jr., Trump, MAGA, America First world. And it's what establishment hates about it, by the way, is that it's just it's so organic and it's so real. And here is somebody who was a Democrat turned independent, turned Republican. In RFK's case, somebody who was a Democrat turned independent because the Democrats didn't realize what they had with him. It's honest. It's not we agree on everything ideologically. We talked about this before. We don't have to say the same things and think the same things. But it's so honest from an American perspective. And that's, look, there's certain things we should be doing better. There's certain foods we should or shouldn't be eating. There's certain things rights that we shouldn't be taking. And with respect to vaccines and the COVID lockdowns that Tulsi Gabbard stood out against, and which is why her party shunned her. And with RFKs, like these vaccines are killing kids. The things that they put in our food only in America is making people sick. These aren't controversial issues, right? We're not talking about abortion or guns. We're talking about whether or not you can have partially hydrogenated corn oils and crap. I mean, we're not even, it shouldn't be that controversial. That
it shouldn't even be happening,
right? Like, why is anyway?
If we can make the same stuff without that, why are we making it? Why are we forced to eat it with it? I don't get it.
Right.
For me, it's all about the tea. Not for Talk to Me Taylor, okay, but the transparency, like the transparency of it all. Just makes me feel a very good type of way because it is so refreshing. And even though my background, David, like you said, is in Hollywood, I always was the little ball buster as a former mainstream media reporter because I was always calling for the transparency. We're now sort of starting to see again, then in Hollywood, like I called issues with Me Too out from the inside, like all these kind of the power struggles, what really goes on, and they hated it. And so to now see it on the bigger stage, and we're seeing it a little bit with the whole Justin Baldoni, Blake Lively thing. And it may seem like frilly, silly, Hollywood, but it actually really speaks to, even in politics and whatever, corporations, big pharma, like the powers that be and what they have gotten away with for years.
What's Blake Lively doing?
What's that?
Who with Blake Lively? And
oh no, David! I already had to educate you on Tradwife, not the Blake Lively lawsuits and
we had a conversation about this recently.
What's the Blake Lively lawsuits? What show is she from? I feel like she's from a kid show.
She was on Gossip Girl.
Well, what other show?
Just these random movies, basically. She was in Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants. Really Pretty Blonde, is married to Ryan Reynolds, who's Deadpool.
Oh, we did talk about this.
Yes.
I know she is.
Yes.
Yeah, we did talk about it.
And so it's really refreshing because in that, like, to make a long story short, right? In that scenario, you have Justin Baldoni, who's like the David and the David Goliath, putting everything kind of like Doge, what Elon's doing, like putting everything out there, kind of like Miss Levitt. She's like, here are the receipts, putting all the text, all the exchanges on a website on blast, and is like, let the people decide. And so, again, the larger point to see this all in government with all of them, whether it be RFK, Tulsi, Elon, like it is just music to my ears. It's so refreshing.
It is. And that's what I think is so important about MAGA, or what, like we talked about before in America First, is that this is the first time, at least in my life, and I've had this discussion all the time. People piss me off, and I'm going to tell you why. But it's not all people; it's really just the left. And what happens is they're like,
all them.
Yeah. I don't understand how you could support Trump, and even people on the establishment right, by the way, not MAGA people, but establishment right.
Nikki Haley,
I really like his policies, but gosh, those tweets, if he could just not be so Trump. And I'm like, oh gosh, please. Your entire life, you voted for the same people and gotten the same results. For the first time in my life in 2016, when Trump came down an escalator, he said, we're just going to do it. What do you mean we're going to build a wall? We're just going to build a wall. What do you mean we're going to make NATO pay their fair share? We're just going to do it. What do you mean we're going to get out of the TPP, the Trans-Pacific Partnership with China that was a bad deal for America? We're just going to do it. What do you mean we're going to renegotiate trade deals with Mexico and Canada? Well, we're just going to do it. What do you mean we're going to produce oil domestically? Well, we're just going to do it. I'm like, wait a second. You can just do that stuff? I thought there was rules. I thought you had to say you were going to do something and then make up all these reasons why it couldn't be done. This is really how government, and talks about Doge. This is when government starts working for people. This is when you elect somebody who doesn't make a bunch of BS promises and then goes and gets elected, and then nobody holds him accountable because he's part of an affiliation with, you know, R and or D next to their name. Trump is resetting the game for everybody. Democrats, Republicans, independents, libertarians. Trump is resetting the game, flipping the table over and saying, it doesn't matter if you're a Democrat, doesn't matter if you're a Republican, doesn't matter whatever political party you're from, doesn't matter if you're a Christian, if you're a Christian, if you're a Jew, if you're an atheist or whatever, Muslim. The reality is there is a way that we should be doing things. I'm going to show you that it could be done, and that is a threat to the entire establishments, the religious establishments, political establishments, the globalist establishments. This is a renaissance for liberty.
100. And you know what? Even we're seeing the protests today. And we talked about it on my show. Even people really close to me, friends, family in my orbit. Number one, same thing that you just said, which is they're just melting down. They truly, genuinely believe in their being. Like, how is he president again? I'm like, guys, or not even how is he president again, but like literally worried he won't leave. I'm like, what? Or that it's the end of the world or democracy and yada yada. I'm like, did you forget he was already our president? Like, what are we even saying? But it's also to the point about Doge and the people protesting. It really makes me wonder, and I contemplate this on my show a lot. I think, you know what? Because even today I see them, and it's like kind of the overthrow of bureaucracy, as Elon Musk says. And I thought the same thing during COVID, why they so easily bought into all of these rules and things. And I thought, how are people this easily bought in, take it as Bible and need it? And I think, you know, I don't even know if this is giving them the benefit of the doubt, but I'm like, are people just so in dire need of rules and structure that anything like this, just that's why, again, Fauci was God at one point, right? What Biden administration said was they were God. It's like, no. And anything that, look at what happened with, you know, with RFK was completely shit on. I had Dr. Robert Malone on my show. He lost everything, his business, you know? And so I just can't help but think that people just need, I don't know, traditional order structures. And it's like, yes, but to what end?
Yeah.
How much do you want to be controlled?
Yeah, well, Puppet, how much do you like to be controlled when people
you know, from a guy who
you have to deal with a lot of control issues.
Ultimately requires some help to be free. I can't stand the control. And, you know, I want to comment on your comment regarding, you know, people, and give people a little bit of an out on the whole Trump thing and the whole.
Don't do it.
You know,
they don't deserve it.
Hang on. On the whole Trump thing with the, you know, I like his policies, but his tweets, you know. Look, I believe that before Trump really came to the forefront and started fake newsing, I like to use that as a verb, fake newsing everything. Like that term, fake news, you know, like I always knew that the media was spun, right? Okay, if you watch Fox, it's spun right. If you watch CNN, it's spun left. We all knew that. But I don't think we even had an idea of how ridiculous the spin was, or really not even spin. It was lies, fake news.
True.
It was until
Good
Trump.
point.
Like,
good point.
You said the news was real. It just, when you watch CNN, they spun it left. And when you watched Fox, they spun it right. Mm-hmm. When Trump came down the escalator and then ultimately became president and started saying fake news, these people are lying. I think that blew people's minds. I don't think they realized that was the case. I think that they knew there was spin, but they didn't realize they were making shit up, like just flat out lying to the American people, and that the media was a propaganda machine to propagate lies to make them seem like facts. And I think it took Trump to really start smacking reporters on the head, telling them to cutting them off, calling them names, saying fake news over and over again before it really started to sink in that, wait a minute, maybe there's more to this than a little bit of spin on one side or the other. And then COVID, I think, really opened people's eyes when people saw the spin, like with the horse dewormer and Joe Rogan and, the masking debacles and the Fauci and the
Hunter Biden laptop.
Yep. Oh my gosh, right.
laptop. I mean, you really started to see like, wait a minute, this is fake news. This is flat out lies. This is a spin. This is lying. This is a propaganda arm for the government. And, that's when people started to say, wait, we need Trump's tweets because the tweets are the leverage against the fake news. Like the mean tweets is okay if you actually have a functioning government. You want them to be presidential, but we needed a revolution in government, and that's what is going on now. That's what Doge is all about. It's really the pointing out of all of the problems inside government. I don't think any American, if you'd said before, like, hey, America is in NATO and we pay 80% more than everybody else and we do 80% more work. If anybody would have thought that was going on, A, and B, that's a good idea. I don't think anybody thinks either of those things or thought either of those things until Trump goes and says it out loud and says how ridiculous it is. And then you go, of course that's ridiculous. I don't want to do that. If you had told the American people that, none of the childhood vaccines on the schedule have actually gone through double-blind trials, you'd be like, that's crazy. But when Robert F. Kennedy tries to say that, they make up fake news and say that he's lying, right?
This really set you off, Puppet.
Go
Puppet's
off,
really
Puppet.
upset, right?
Go off, Puppet.
Once
I
the truth
actually,
comes out, people's minds start to change.
I have a little bit of an insider story on this quickly, if you guys want to hear it.
Of course we do.
So
we're not trying to rush you off like you rushed us off. You could take as much time. She's like, all right, guys, I got another question for you, but only 30 seconds because I really got to get you off my show.
I'm like, okay, guys, we have 30 seconds. So just a quick oral dissertation from you both on the current state of anti-Semitism.
Yes, and then but quickly, and then get off my show. So you go ahead, Taylor. Take as much time as you'd like.
Quickly and get off my show.
Quickly.
That wasn't me. That could have possibly have been me. So I interviewed when you talked about Puppet, Trump starting to call out reporters and really the turn of the tide when people were becoming privy to fake news and him making fun of them and all this. So I don't know about you guys, but I was completely enthralled by the Twitter files, which was led by Matt Taibbi as the leading journalist with Elon Musk. So on the heels of everything, I had Matt on my show and we had talked about this. And he said to me, Taylor, I will never forget, he said, the moment I knew everything shifted. He was covering some press event and Trump, obviously this was Trump's, first term. And there were press, like reporters all on the floor and then sort of every man and, people all spectating. And Trump was sort of doing his thing of kind of antagonizing reporters and like messing with reporters and the whole thing. And Matt told me that the reporters were all just like scoffing and so pissed, whatever. And the people in the crowd were like cheering and going nuts. And he was like, Taylor, from that moment, it was just like, I knew it was just like a turning point where I knew that Trump had exposed something and had the, majority of people in the palm of his hand. And, from there on out, it's like we couldn't, those of us non-normies, like couldn't unsee fake news, so to speak, and like all the lies and, all that. So I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah. Well, Puppet you guys may both make a great point, but Puppet made a good point here. The media has lied to people for so long. And that's really what we're talking about is access to information. And we talked about this Mercedes a little bit too. The fake news was so instrumental in setting the narrative, regardless of what it was. And so you're right. For the people who like, I hate his mean tweets, that's all they were shown. They only know that version of Trump. This also causes a different problem, though, too. And I'll talk about two things, and I'll throw it back to you guys. The first problem is the imposters. People really have to sit back, and I told you, these people annoy me. We're like, why do you vote for Trump? They don't know anything about Trump or why people like us support him because of what he said he would do and he did. The thing is, it's the imposters who try to emulate Trump. They never actually emulate the America First version of Trump, the almost bipartisan version of Trump, the deal maker version of Trump. They emulate the media created version of Trump. And they go out there and they're jerks. They want to hear anybody else's point of view. They want to bully people. And they're like, that's America first, baby. I'm like, well, you're missing the boat because you're just emulating the media created version of Trump. That's not Trump. Trump, the very first thing he did when he got in office was try to make a deal with Democrats on infrastructure. He had Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer in his office. And he's like, what can we do? Trump's a deal maker. He'll work with anybody. He'll do whatever he has to do. He'll sit down with Putin if necessary. He'll cross the border with Kim Jong-un. Trump isn't a bully. Trump is a person who wants to get things done, and he's willing to sacrifice his own wealth and his time and everything for it. Trump isn't what the media has created, and he's not who these people who go around pretending to be MAGA are. That goes to your question before, Taylor. You're like, what bothers you about MAGA? The only thing that bothers me about MAGA are the people who don't understand it, and they claim to enforce it without actually understanding what the movement means. And it's really not about emulating or bullying or insulting. That's Trump's style. But that's not who he is. Trump's style, yes, he gives people nicknames. And yes, he can be like, I'm going to shake your hand until you let go. He's definitely very alpha. That's Trump's style. But that's not MAGA. What MAGA is, what making America great again means, what America first means, is that we're not going to put the party. Remember his first inaugural. I'm taking power from the people behind me and giving it back to you, not one party to the next. What MAGA is prioritizing people over party, people over politics. And that's what's happening with Doge. That's what's happening in government. If you want to be MAGA, whoever the next iteration of Trump should be, it's putting Americans first again. And always having that being the guiding principle in our dealings with the international community and dealings domestically, any of it. You got to put Americans' interests first. We can be the most powerful and richest country in the world. We deserve it because we have the best weapons, we have the best people, we have the best schools, we have the best technology. We deserve to have it all. And if anybody thinks they're better, prove it. Because the last time somebody thought we were better, we bombed the shit out of them. And guess what? We won. So we get to be rich. We get to be powerful. And we get to tell people what's up because we won and we continue to win. And that's America first, in my opinion, Taylor.
You know, I don't even mind. I don't even want to say full-blown bully, but I don't mind. Actually, no, forget that. Not that I don't mind. I love that about Trump, that he is willing to just like throw shots and this and that, because this is something else that I can't unsee. He is like, he's much more, I think, refined this time around. I think that you guys would agree. But look at the contrast between his campaign and Kamala Harris. He is a little like bull in a china shop and rough around the edges and just says shit off the cuff and makes fun of people and calls people names like we do. Right. Then you look at a Kamala Harris who every single move, like honestly, Puppet, you should feel annoyed because she totally co-opted the puppet movement because she was a total puppet. Okay.
She was totally a puppet.
They total scarecrow puppet, and they tried to curate every single fake orchestrated word out of that girl's mouth, every fake slogan and this and that, and it didn't work. It was perfectly, carefully curated, and look what happened. So I think that's like the human outsider part of Trump that obviously look at how many of us it resonated with, you know, and I don't know. I love that. I don't think that there's any use in like sugarcoating like any of that about Trump. I think he should get it. He could even do a little more. He could get a little even more
mean tweets. Make America mean tweet again.
Yes. I mean, we've gone so soft. We could use it. Haven't we?
Puppet knows all about being soft, right, Puppet?
That's it, baby.
No more safe spaces unless you need one. Puppet. Yeah, that's the only exception.
I don't need safe spaces. People need safe spaces for me.
That's true. That's true.
That's true.
I think being on the show with Taylor made Puppet went from a soft pillow to a firm pillow. What do you think, Puppet?
Dave, I'm firm on the outside, soft on the inside, baby.
like a jawbreaker?
Like a
I'm hard but soft.
Tootsie Pop.
Oh.
Hello.
So tell me about this plane crash, guys, because Taylor, I know you got stuff to do tonight. Tell me about this plane crash. What before I fly to freaking.
No, I mean, same. So, see you up there. Maybe we'll be high-fiving,
Are you going to be at CPAC?
In the airwaves. No, I'm actually going out to the land of Gavin Newsom. I'm going to California. But anyways, I know. No, I know. So David,
Yeah.
there was a huge Delta commercial plane landed in Toronto. Like I said, I've just seen footage here and there. Huge. I don't know if it was just the pilots were, it was like you said, there's always inclement weather, but it obviously looked, snowy, ice, whatever it is, but the entire plane is literally upside down.
I read a little bit about it afterwards, and it said that, I guess, like, as it was coming in for the landing with the weather inclement, like, it kind of blew the wing and it flipped upside down, but it didn't crash. It skidded, and I think everybody landed upside down, but everybody was fine.
This is a small plane.
I don't think there's any yeah, no, and I saw footage that shows people, like, it literally looks like it's out of a movie. People climbing out of the upside down plane. I don't think anyone died, but I'm curious for your guys' take. Okay, is this starting to get, I'm no tinfoil hat girl most days.
Weird.
Is this starting to get simulation? I'm sorry. We had the helicopter. We had the, what was one in Philly? There was another one. Now this.
I heard there was 4 this week.
But the fact that that's commercial jets involved is so rare. I'm sorry. I'm starting to be like, who is messing with this in the simulation?
Now I don't know if I want to film enough to
And
try.
you saw that, what's the guy's name? Eric Swalwell came out this morning, was like, these plane crashes are Trump's fault.
I'm sure.
I saw that. Hey, look, I got a picture of it real quick. Check it out.
Yes.
That's it.
Oh, there was a landing gear problem, I think.
Stock up. I love Jim Bob.
Me too.
Also, Jim Bob govern me harder, Daddy.
Yeah.
I need a shirt that says that.
Jim Bob is my favorite, by the way.
Jim Bob, we're gonna make a shirt about that.
I know. Jim Bob is Jim Bob. We appreciate you every time he
Bob's
shows
our
up.
Greatest fan.
He's one of our. He's our.
I
only
love
fan.
it.
He's our he's our eldest fan.
Why do they call that OnlyFans, by the way? If you have more than one,
that's true.
Because it's only for fans that want.
Then why don't they call it only for fans? But it's only fans. It makes it seem like it's your only fan.
No, it's only for fans that want to see you naked. I'm doing an OnlyFans.
What do you mean only for fans that want to see you naked? It's not just a
happily.
naked site. It's not just a naked site.
It totally is just a naked site, dude.
I heard it's not just a naked site.
Well, whoever told you that is lying to you.
So
Really?
I actually had an OnlyFans experiment.
Oh, let's hear about this, and then we'll talk about the plane again.
So this is exactly just to distract you from the plane phobias that we're both
having. Now we're like the fake news. We're like, plane crash. Don't pay attention. Let's talk about OnlyFans.
No,
Like,
exactly.
I think we're doing what the media does, right?
Oh boy, are we?
Yeah. So tell me what is this?
Well, I may have told you this on your last show, but I had a venture in Playboy, and I was a contributor writer for them, and I was the only and so I pitched and spearheaded the feature in which I posed and wrote an essay with fellow female journalists. So in celebration of this idea
Puppet
of like
Puppet has that issue, by the way.
No, I don't, but I'm looking for it on eBay.
I would hope so. Or Amazon. I'm just saying. And so in celebration of this, boobs and brain motto, I was like, what if I really tried to sort of continue that, but in an on-brand way on OnlyFans? So what I would do is I would put up Talk to Me Taylor style, fun, sexy, suggestive photos, but there was no nudity, and over covering whatever it was, I would have some really sort of like sassy, clever point about politics or cancel culture, or like like the Twitter files, can't keep these down, whatever it is. I don't know. But either way, it was a fun run. Turns out people go to OnlyFans for the more hardcore art of it all.
Really?
So, I know. So it was a fun little experiment. It was short-lived, but I have no regrets. But I thought, maybe they want to be intellectually stimulated a little bit on OnlyFans, but
I don't think that's
it's like no
stimulation they're looking for. Yeah, I don't, honestly, and I could say this honestly, hook them up to a lie detector. I've never been to OnlyFans. I know nothing about OnlyFans. The only thing I know,
actually really, it's all behind a paywall, so
that's why I'm cheap. I don't. That's why I haven't been. Yeah.
I charge because some girls really parse it out and go hardcore. They'll charge a certain. I was like, listen, one size fits all. Let's not complicate this. It was like $12.99 a month. So, again, it was like a 3-4 month run, and then I said, you know what, it's more work than it's worth, but fun.
We could start an Only Puppets account.
I agree.
Yeah, I mean, I would do that.
I'll be the creative director.
Somebody can pull the tape. There was an episode we did once where Puppet actually got pretty naked on air.
How did that feel?
I mean, for me, it was disturbing. I don't know how it was for him. I mean, it was pretty.
We had to hit so many followers that night, right? Like it was.
Yeah. No, if we got enough money or something.
Oh,
it was over on Pilled.
Was the money on Pilled?
We really have to start streaming on there again. It's just like I just kept forgetting.
Money on Pilled then. But
we're over on Pilled.net and they would donate. Like they could donate money during the broadcast. And somebody donated a bunch of money for Puppet to get undressed. And he did. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that was you? Yeah. Well, I still have the image in my head.
I didn't want you to find out this way, but
yeah. But we appreciate the donations. I mean, like I said,
it's all for the cause. I'm committed. Hey, before I have to hop, you guys, I really want to know, and I don't know if you talked about this with Mercedes, but
I'm going to do a time limited thing again and then go on for another 10 minutes?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Before I have to go,
not.
Let's start a whole nother conversation.
Go
ahead.
That is not. I don't know who you're talking about. That could have possibly be me.
Yeah.
I'm curious for who you are most excited to meet, speak with, whatever it is at CPAC.
This year?
Me.
Puppet. Yeah.
Definitely most excited to talk to me.
I'm going to tell you, I've been very fortunate. And I don't think I'm going to get to meet Trump this weekend. But I've been fortunate to get to know a lot of the people I look up to in the conservative movement. At this point, there really isn't many people I haven't met at CPAC. So when I go, I'll know. It's really like a family reunion. When I go to CPAC, I know most of the people there. But I really look for, who I look forward to meeting the most? Not the famous people. I look forward to meeting new conservatives. I hope at this CPAC, I get to meet people that were Democrats or independents or libertarians that are not Republican or new to being Republican. And maybe this is their first CPAC. And they're like, I came here because of Tulsi. I came here because of RFK. I came here because of, I think differently now that I've almost been awake, not woke. And that's who I look forward to meeting. I look forward to meeting new conservatives because that inspires me. It knows that our movement is growing and it means that we're taking back America. That's who I want to meet.
Nice.
I want to meet Jim Bob.
Yeah, Jim Bob, you gonna be there? He's in the background.
Come on, Jim Bob.
He says stock up on tinfoil Taylor. That's what Jim Bob said here. Look.
He says,
and I like Taylor's kind of spicy.
Yeah, that's you.
I can confirm that's on the record, Jim Bob. But I'm excited for you guys. I can't wait to see how it goes, and I'll be sure to tune in and stay track of your whereabouts in a not creepy way. I meant on social media.
No, be creepy. It's Puppet loves it. Puppet, that's Puppet's ideal woman. He likes the ones that stalk him. Like, yeah, the Puppet's ideal woman is a woman who calls his phone at 3 a.m. I noticed your light turned on. Can't sleep. I can't sleep either. Yeah. Well, how do you know my light just turned on? No reason. I just happened to be driving around the neighborhood looking for a lost cat. Like that kind of thing. And he's like, well, whose lost cat? Yours. Can I return him to you right now? Can I return your cat right now? Like, that's the kind of guy, that's the kind of girl or guy Puppet likes. We haven't, I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
We don't know yet.
Puppet's like, I'm into it.
Into. Yeah. He really likes a guy that can operate his manhole too, from what I understand. So maybe he does both things. So.
Oh, he's cannot confirm nor deny. Guys, thank you so much.
Tickle the manhole. He just can't keep his hands, or he just can't stop talking about the manhole, baby.
Right. Taylor's trying to leave. She's trying to end on a high note. She's like, all right, let me actually leave. So
what I was going to say was I appreciate you, yes, bearing with me on my show, being like 30, that's the red carpet reporter in me, being like, that's what we used to have to do, 30 seconds, just really quick. And then I would get them to do a whole Oprah sit down. So anyways, worked on them and I guess kind of worked on you guys.
For sure.
You never have a problem getting us to talk more than people want us to talk. That's kind of our thing. So you don't need to say 30 seconds. You just ask us a stupid question and we'll go on longer than anybody wants us to go on for. So
Yes, I'm trained like
Congratulations.
the red carpet militant that I am. But listen,
Thanks for
Godspeed
coming
on our
on.
flights, guys.
God, Lord, I'm walking. Forget this.
No, exactly. I am
Godspeed.
Amtrakking, hitchhiking. Yeah.
Yeah, Tesla speed. I'm not freaking flying after this. I'm going to cancel my flight. Screw this.
I know.
Upside down, they're landing. I mean, at least it landed. Good Lord. Taylor, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you, guys. It's always so much fun. And I can't wait to see what happens for you at CPAC. It's going to be awesome.
I'll let you know. And I can't wait for Hump Day for the episode to be released.
Yeah,
Everybody check out Talk to Me
this
Taylor.
Wednesday.
Check out Talk to Me Taylor. And soon you're going to see more of Talk to Me Taylor in other places, I think, right? We're going to talk about that.
Places, spaces.
Yeah, exactly.
SpaceX, maybe.
And
I
things.
mean, all the things. And yes, definitely, guys, this Wednesday, these two awesome characters come into my domain in my chat, and we have a lot of fun.
I can't wait. All right. Thanks for being here.
Thank you guys so much. I'll talk to you soon. You guys are the best.
I'm going to go pour some cold water on Puppet when you go.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
Oh my God. He and I both, I had things to do tonight. It's that. Thanks, guys.
Thanks for being here.
Got him.
All right, Puppet. I think we had a lot of fun tonight. Too much fun.
I do agree, Dave.
I think your female puppet friends, if you have them, are going to be jealous. And that's
yeah.
Mercedes wanted to get you a puppet too. Why does all these people want to hook you up or hook up? And what is the puppet effect, man? It's like you're wearing like a pheromone.
Machismo.
I know. Are you wearing a pheromone cologne or something?
I don't know.
Remember
what was it called? Back in the 90s. Remember that pheromone? Realm. It's a pheromone.
You know what pheromone women like? The smell of sweat. A man that actually works for a living. That's the pheromone that women want.
That's right,
I think.
baby.
I think they're like all the time. They're like that guy smells like obsession. I don't want him.
Yeah.
This guy. Well, that guy smells like sweat. He probably works like sweat and probably motor oil. I'm not a woman, but I have to guess that a woman likes the smell of sweat and motor oil. Let us know in the comments and chats if that's true. Yeah. That's all I got, Puppet.
Okay.
Yeah.
See you next week.
Yeah. Okay. Well, she says it's the science, guys. I don't know which science she's talking about. Jim Bob, here, look, I'll put him up. Jim Bob needs a cigarette, and Taylor's saying it's the science. I don't know if she means of our motor oil sweat combination pheromone, and I guess Jim Bob's calling her Spicy Taylor. So, all right. With that, I think we're going to CPAC, and we'll see you next week. And I guess we'll talk about everything we did at CPAC. I mean, that seems like what we would do on a Monday after CPAC, right?
Seems like it. Yep. Absolutely.
All right. So we'll be back next week, talk about our CPAC escapades. Good night, everybody. You going to wave, Puppet?
Yep. Hey, everybody know. So I don't have to say it, but I'm going to say it anyway. Flea stops here.
It does. He'd wave goodbye to you, but it can't really do his hands.